60% satisfaction, 31% decrease ER, 22% hospitalization, lowered patient costs. Prior to the intervention, they cost about $80,000 per patient per year. We decreased that to $50,000 per year, saving $30,000 per patient. We achieved an 8-to-1 return on investment, where we believe we're developing a successful financial model being developed with 3 healthcare provider group contracts and potentially more to come. The patients are being integrated into the Multicultural Health Foundation community-based programs like the REACH program and the American Heart Association program. And preliminary data suggests that they're getting better control of their blood pressure and better diabetic control simply by being in the program. How do I?
Carla or Amanda, could you help with the pointer?
Could you just click the picture and then that's the last? Okay. So these are from
My ability to get around, get stronger. My mental attitude is getting better day by day. Everything is a day by day process. It doesn't just all happen at once. It happens day by day and you don't notice it until it's already happened. My experiences were wonderful. If you put your mind to it, you can accomplish. If you don't think that you can.
Cada día he aprendido más cosas, ¿verdad? Gracias a Dios que me ha sentido muy bien y no como el año pasado que cada ratito, cada día me estoy cuidando mucho, comiendo saludable y caminar, eso es mi rutina, lo que hago.
Pues aquí estamos, cuidando unos a nosotros. Y gracias por solución se llama, tratamiento, porque dice que es bueno este tratamiento. Le digo yo a él, si estuviéramos en México, ya no estuvieras aquí.
I get to go outside and meet my grandkids and watch them play and see I'm in here laid up somewhere or, I'm not doing good. And since I've been on that program, it helps me a lot. If you have problems or just need somebody to talk, you can always call them too. They're just my down days and I need to just be picked up or, not talk. They make me feel good. It's a good program.
She never crossed me off the list. She just kept going on and on and on and kept pushing and pushing. That means a lot when you feel that there's people out there that do actually care. And there's people out there that are fighting. And that's what this program is designed. It's designed to teach you how to fight. Then they graduate you, put you back into the system as a fighter. That's their goal. When they're done with you, they release you as a fighter.
He was the one who had the wheelchair calling, going in every week, and he said, had I known, he looked at the medical director's health plan who was in the room and said, hey, you better give me a wheelchair, because I'm going to be going to the ER even more frequently. Right? Thank you.
Any questions from the audience? I know I have one. In terms of the volunteer, the community advocates, was there a specific training that was provided to them, and is that something that had any kind of opportunity? I know there were medical students and undergraduates as well as community people, but the training was very specific for this program.
Yeah, so in the beginning, no, we just asked for volunteers to call, and we developed a protocol for what we wanted them to ask and do. But about a year and a half ago, we actually got a grant from Kaiser specifically to train 2025 volunteers, and they actually went through a training program. Basically, a real crash course in being a community health worker. And so now all of our volunteers go through that particular program. But in the beginning, we were kind of winging it.
Jill Simon?
We're 85% of their patients who have behavioral health issues. Does that include substance abuse, or is that a separate category?
I'm not sure. First of all, these were mental health, and sometimes the mental health was substance abuse. What we discovered is that was probably one of the weaknesses of our program. Some of the other sites, which I didn't have time to talk about, like in Colorado, actually had mental health workers incorporated into the team. So one of the things, one of the growths of our program, we have just contracted with Mental Health of America in San Diego. That, as a matter of fact, beginning in January, will be part of our team, so that as we get mental health issues, we're going to have a mental health specialist as a part of the team. Yes?
Can you talk about what kind of caseload that your staff were kind of, working with, and the sustainability of that?
Good question. We have, and it really fluctuates, but at any one time, we had between 20 and 60 active patients, and we found that when we got above 50 for the team that we had, we were kind of pushing it, and that included full-time 2 nurses, 2 community health workers, and then a volunteer. So we now have that, and we've contracted for another part-time social worker. And actually the volunteers and kind of what they do probably give us another FTE. So our goal is to get up to 60. Hope that answers your question.
Dr.
Yeah.
Olivia Couturier, our Sacramento Public Health Officer.
Thank you so much for that presentation, and I'm really glad to see how impressive the results are, because when I first saw the Camden model, I was so impressed with it, and was very happy to hear that we actually had models here in California as well. I did have one question, because with the Camden model, I know that they graduated the patients out of the program in a number of weeks. I don't remember how many, but I wasn't clear when you were presenting whether you were keeping the patients for a longer time, and if so, what was the length of time, because then how are you able to make sure that you don't max out and then you're not able to take any more?
Yeah. Yeah, very good question. Dr. Brenner's Camden model, they after 3 months, they transition them out. In our program, the patients average 6 months, and some of them were in there over a year. And what we're finding out, and we actually started getting contracts with at-risk groups even before Camden, because we were an IPA, we already had those relationships, and I think those of us who are in the business are finding out. It sounds like good business just to keep them in 3 months and then transition them out so that you don't have to pay. But what we're finding out is some of them need to be in there much longer, and some of them indefinitely.
Can you speak a little bit more to the sustainability of the program beyond France?
So we're kind of happy that we're making progress, but I think we've got a long way to go. So our motto suggests that in order to continue our, that although it's through the foundation, we wanted to see over a 5-year, 8-year period where the contracting amount coming into the foundation was greater than the philanthropy. And, that includes trying to convince at-risk providers that it's worthwhile to contract with us. And we had hoped to have at least 1 or 2 health plans contract with us, but that didn't happen. But we haven't given up because we really think that that's where the bottom line is. One of them, I'll say, was HealthNet. And their medical director was very involved in our program, very impressed with our program, convinced his superiors that he actually convinced his case management team that it was worthwhile to contract with us. And then I think about a year ago they were taken over by Centene. And he kind of got stopped in the tracks. But we're talking with several other health plans, and we believe in the next 3 or 4 months we should, I believe at least, that we should have a contract with them. That's the sustainability. For the team we have, between 40 and 45 patients is break even, and that's where we are. But we really want to get up to, so in essence, how we came up with that number was, we had a full risk agreement with HealthNet and one of the hospitals for about 6,000-7,000 senior lives, mostly dual eligible, and we figured about the top 1% was about 60, and so it's taken us about a year to get up to 40, 45.
Could you elaborate a little bit on your pre-med and your medical school volunteers? Because I see that as a potential part of the sustainability, and maybe this is something, your overall program, you should bring to the legislature's attention. Because for those pre-meds and medical students who would participate in such a project that could lower overall healthcare costs, it could also identify who really has the heart for this work. So I think it's absolutely fascinating that you use that as part of your structure.
Yeah. It has been, as I said, we call it the secret sauce. And but what we've learned, and students come and go, so that's part of the problem. You get them, you train them, and then they're there 6 months or so, then they got to take another class and that type of thing. What we really think is, yes, that's still going to be a critical, we need to have students, but what we're looking for, and we're looking for a grant now, to actually train community health workers, because that's basically what they're doing. And we'd like to get them from the community. So we see it as a work empowerment thing in a low-income area, where some of the patients that went through the program have an interest. They've actually come back and started volunteering. But we think long-term, we really need to transition the volunteer program into a community health worker program that still includes volunteers. Yes?
Hi, Nancy Eaton, Blue Shield. You didn't mention the use of pharmacists. Is there a pharmacist on your team, or did you have access to one? There's a lot of medication issues, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're right. So that's another weakness of our program. Did the team have a pharmacist? I would say yes, me. Prior to going into medicine, I was in pharmacy. I actually went to went to UCSF in their graduate pharmacy program, graduated from pharmacy school back in Boston. But you're right, that's one of the weaknesses of our program, that as we expand, we said we need mental health, community caseworkers, and a pharmacist. So as we expand and get to the point involving a true practicing pharmacist on a regular basis is something that we believe will strengthen the program.
What about health information exchange? Do you find that to be an important piece of what you're doing, and were you able to address some of the challenges around getting the information across the system?
Yeah, excellent question. So that's another area we're trying to address. The grant it used data gathering software called TrackVia. But it was mostly focused on cost, and there was a lot of clinical data there, and we found it very difficult to use, number one. So we have actually started looking at various case management software. And really what we think we need, at least we haven't seen yet, where we're looking for software that will not only measure the clinical determinants, but the social determinants. And because most of what we're doing has to do with the social determinants, so we've actually looked at getting a small grant of having somebody to help us develop the software that we think we need. In San Diego, there's the, it was the Beacon project, it's now San Diego with Dan Chavez. So we've actually talked with him about getting Beacon, and is the entity in San Diego where the hospitals are coming together so that any of your patients, no matter what system they're in, you'll be able to access their records. Well, that's actually been implemented, but not fully, and so we're looking at actually getting on that system.
So before you leave the podium, I just want to present you with this well-deserved award. I'd have to say that I should probably use the microphone so they capture it on tape, all the nice things that I'm going to say about you. Dr. Rodney Hood is a great visionary, as you all can see, and I call him a health equity action hero. It was very difficult for me to get him involved in San Diego in the first place in the Right Care Initiative, but boy, once I had him come present, he became part of the heart and soul of why San Diego has seen a 24% drop in acute myocardial infarctions since the inception of the university best practices there in 2011. And this man is just truly a non-stop action hero. He is everywhere, convincing every health system to do the right thing. And as you can see, if we were all doing work like this, we would be saving not only money, but lives, disability, improving the quality of life for these former shut-ins. So I just have to say, of all the people I have ever met in the Right Care Initiative, Dr. Rodney Hood is a true hero. And thank you so much for flying up today.
Thank you.
So with that concludes our program for today, and we, from Right Care, the planning group, extend happy holidays to all of you, and have a safe and memorable experience this year, and we'll see you back again next year.
And we're going to start meeting at noon again, like we used to do, instead of the 12:30. So we'll see you back here at noon on January 9th, and have a wonderful holiday and a restful time of